Happy Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Jake Lambright. We are declaring Monday night into Tuesday a first alert weather day as the potential for severe weather has continued increasing during the overnight hours and even during the daytime hours today. So here's everything that you need to know. First off, we'll see isolated storms during the day on Monday, and our main line of storms doesn't arrive until the overnight hours. So really, the main focus is going to be Monday night into Tuesday morning. However, the severe threat with those isolated storms during the afternoon hours isn't entirely zero, so we will be monitoring those as well. With that main line of storms coming through later on during the overnight hours, damaging winds will be the main concern, but also we do have the threat for tornadoes as well, kind of on the low to elevated side. So I want to break things down, but before we really get into things, I want to kind of remind you of the central Louisiana parishes that we cover. We cover everywhere from Sabine to Natchitoches Parish all the way down to St. Landry. If you're not sure where you're located on the map, this is the time to really take a good look at this map and kind of familiarize yourself with the shape of your parish so that way you can kind of get a better idea of when storms will arrive in your locations. I'm going to leave this up here for about 5 more seconds and we'll go ahead and dive into the severe weather outlook here in just a moment. So portions of our area have been upgraded to a slight risk for severe weather. We're going to take a look at that now. That is the yellow shading that you see there on your screen. A slight risk falls level 2 out of 5 on the severity scale. And there is the potential that we see this upgraded potentially to a level 3 in later outlooks. You'll see that slight risk kind of cuts off about Alexandria to Fort Polk to just south of Gina and areas to the northwest. So as you head further toward the Ark-La-Miss or the Ark-La-Tex, really along the I-20 corridor, that's where more of that slight risk does include. Now, let's zoom in locally here and take a look at that slight risk and marginal risk for our area. Almost all of us are under some kind of severe weather threat Monday night into Tuesday. The dark green is a marginal risk, which is a level 1 out of 5 on the severity scale. And I would not be shocked to see that slight risk maybe pushed a little further to the south. Do you think storms will be able to maintain their strength a little bit further into the overnight hours? So here's why that slight risk is in place, mainly due to the damaging wind and the tornado threat. That's why they've brought the slight risk down as far south as they have so far. The hail risk is low, not zero, and we could see some damaging winds up to maybe 60, 65 miles per hour. All right, let's talk more on the timing now with these storms. You'll see 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., even closer to 8, 9. That line of storms already getting going out toward the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. As we go further on into the day, you'll notice some of those pop-up storms, but from what I've seen so far in evaluating the kind of atmosphere and environment that these severe storms will have, it's not going to be until later in the afternoon where I think there's a better chance of some of those little pop-up storms having a better chance at becoming strong to severe. Not saying that those that happen late morning, early afternoon couldn't become severe, but I think the best chance for those to become stronger, at least from what I'm seeing so far, is later on in the afternoon into the early evening hours. You'll see there's a bit of a lull in storm activity until we get later on into the evening. This is about 7 p.m., and here's that line of storms starting to enter our northwestern parishes, including portions of Sabine and Natchitoches Parish. And this main line is going to stick in the region for quite some time. In fact, you see there by about 10 p.m. or so, that line finally starting to enter areas like Vernon Parish and Rapides. By midnight, I really think if you're in Sabine, Natchitoches, Wynn Parish, your severe threat's going to be over. It's going to be more of a concern for those of us in areas like Rapides, LaSalle, Catahoula, Concordia, and Avoyelles, so on and so forth. And you see here, especially the southern extent of that line after midnight really isn't looking as healthy. With that said, the severe threat is going to remain until about 3 to 4 a.m. at the latest for our southeastern parishes, and then things are going to be dry as we go throughout the rest of Tuesday. Now, when it comes to any kind of rainfall totals, here's a look at what I'm expecting as we go throughout the day on Monday and into the overnight hours. I think most of us stay between half an inch to 1 inch of rain. But as you saw in Futurecast, this is more of a slower moving line. And if it's slow moving enough, it produces heavy enough rain. We could see higher rainfall totals in some spots. In fact, you can kind of see some of those hot spots I'm referencing here on the map where you see kind of purple contours that would indicate higher amounts, maybe between 1.5 to 2.5 inches. And for those on the southern end of that line, like I was saying, it's just not looking as healthy. The rain not quite as heavy as I showed there on Futurecast a moment ago. Those areas could see below half an inch of rain for sure. So again, to kind of recap things, the severe threat has been increasing and uptrending in recent model runs for us across central Louisiana. A first alert weather day is now in place Monday night into early Tuesday morning. You'll want to stay weather aware. Of course, make sure that you have a way to audibly receive those alerts as you go to bed on Monday night. A great way to receive those alerts is through our free KALB weather app. We're monitoring the situation around the clock. Of course, meteorologist Ian Beck will have the latest for you coming up tonight, 10 on KALB. Kaylee's got the latest for you tomorrow morning, and I'll keep you covered tomorrow evening and during the overnight hours as those severe storms start to roll through.